It is the Sports Fix here on Flow FM, and time to look back to last weekend's round of matches in Great Flinders football. And by goodness, we had a ripping start to the season. Round one of matches, a collective win margin in the A grade of 11 points over 2 games, and Primey was there to see one of them out there at the mighty Lock Oval, just absolutely tonguing it, old bet. Chris Prime, how are you?
Yeah, a good read. Yes, it was a tad warm for the start of the season. I guess it would probably be low 30s. I know driving home after 5 o'clock, the Ute said it was still 31 degrees. So there's a fair bit of water drank through the day for the boys.
Mixed with yeast and hops, I'd imagine, after the main event, which would have been the B grade, where one Chris Prime suited up again, even though he told us last week he wasn't going to. Just kicked a lazy 3 this week.
Oh, yeah, look, it just coach said you might be required, so pack the sand too, just in case.
Fair enough. Good solid win for Tumby's B grade there, but what about the A grade clash? Boy, oh boy, this was a beauty, and Locke probably blew some chances here to get the job done. Tumby a little bit more efficient in front of goal, and that was what was the winning, edge in the end. 10-7-67 to Locke. Get this, 8-16, 64. Bad kicking is bad football.
Oh, it is, but it was probably one of those days. There was a slight breeze. It didn't make it super difficult to kick goals. Half time, I think Locke were up by a point. Tumby had the breeze in the third, and Locke were absolutely their butts off in the third quarter and went in with the lead. And I was sitting on the sideline, I thought, well, Tumby has probably blown their opportunities. And looking back at the side of Tumby of probably the last year or two, probably would have ended up going down by 4 or 5 goals. But a little bit of grit shown by quite a few guys, and I think a good fitness base from a few of the younger ones sort of got them over the line. Yes, Locke did have their opportunities to kick a couple late to break away from Tumby, but they held on with a couple of outstanding plays.
Yeah, it's a strange looking scoreboard when you check it out. Tumby jumping out of the blocks, and then it evened up at half time, and then Locke doing what they needed to do to keep a lead into 3/4 time, and then Tumby running over the top of them in the final term, kicking 4-2, and they were wasteful again, 2-4 in the final term with the breeze. But you mentioned some good players. Well, Nigel James in his milestone game was amongst them. He was very, very good from all reports, but so was a couple of recruits. Kai Miller, that's a pretty handy pickup for Tumby Bay. He was named in the best, and that's a very handy pickup.
Yeah, look, Kai had a good game, and he's got a smart head on him, and he just put himself in the right spot quite often, takes telling marks, and uses the ball really well. Mitch Laurie was one that stood out to me. There was a couple of instances in the last quarter where Locke had a run, and he was probably 15 metres behind the bloke and absolutely dead on his feet, as everyone on the ground was. But he just chased, and 20 metres later, 25 metres later, there's a fumble. He caused the turnover. Tumby get the ball back, take it back into their forward line. That sort of effort when you're absolutely stuffed, to just find something, just lifts everyone. And it did. It lifted Tumby. He got the ball 30, 40 seconds later. Hit young Hudson Frank, first year out of Colts. 2 bounces down the wing, finishes with a goal. And Hudson did 2 or 3 really outstanding runs down the wing. Probably lacked a little bit of finish on one of them, but that telling fitness and pace there towards the end from the younger Tumby guys really did make the difference.
For Locke, Blaze K is back, booted 3 goals. He kicked the most on the ground on a day where goals were, I guess, hard to find. But Ryan Siebert there, best. Kane Reynolds, Andrew Hetzel, Guy Morton, the usual suspects. That name Heath always pops up. Lachlan and Andrew were pretty good for the Locke crews. But tell me about Kieran Fair. It's not a name I've heard before. You're best on the day, apparently. You obviously know a little bit about this guy.
He has. He came into Tumby last year, and he's got a great work ethic. Tackles really hard. He's one of those guys you want on your side because he'll probably lay 10, 15 tackles by himself. He's just goes at it all day. And yeah, but he's a really, really good on baller, uses the ball well and just pressures everyone.
Okay, good stuff. So Tumby have a win, 3 points the margin. They get over the line, and of course you got Easter coming up, but then you'll be back again after that against Air United in the local derby, I guess.
Yes, it will be an interesting week. There's an Anzac Day clash with Guernsey's made up, honouring those that served out of the club. So, it will be a very important clash, that one.
All right, let's move over to the postage stamp Elliston Oval, which would have been as pretty as a picture. Don't worry about that. It should have been on a postcard, not a postage stamp. Elliston Districts in their new get-up, the freshly merged club, taking on the dream team that United Yolanda has assembled. Well, at quarter time, it was the hosts doing all the attacking. They were 2-5 to nothing. United Yolanda couldn't score. In the end, United Yolanda got over the line. They came from behind to do so, but only just, Primey.
Oh, look, look, we said this would be an interesting game up there last week, and obviously it was. And I know Elliston were still in the game with 90 seconds to go. There was only a couple of points in it. So, you know, tight all day. Elliston obviously probably a bit disappointed. 2-5 in the first, as you said. Like, you know, if that's 4-3 or 5-2, 5 30 points down, sort of a bit of a harder thing to come back from than 2 or 3 goals. So it's sort of that mental stage of when you're 5 goals down, it's sort of you've got to dig fairly deep. But once again, Yolanda seem to be able to find a way to get over the line, and you know, and they have again this week. Once again, look, Elliston, you know, that shot kicking at goal, and they struggled against that a couple of times last year, where you know the second half they'd straighten up, but that first half quite often hurt them by the time they'd kick, you know, 4-goal 8 or things like that. So it's goal kicking practice, and you know, hopefully they'll improve throughout the year.
I think they will. They're gelling together pretty well already, but the Streaky Bay connection was best for Elliston Districts. Zane Montgomery, Jake McAvoy, they were in their best. Kelsh as well, the big fella in the ruck. You got Hutchinson and Williams as well. So there's some pretty good footballers running around for Elliston Districts at the moment. Young Rosalia booted 2 for them. He's a star. They got a few up from Lincoln in Ross Bascom. He's back there playing again, so they look a good side.
Oh, look, they do, and I think they'll be a much improved side on where they were last year, which you know, they just missed out on finals last year, so they'll be aiming that top 2, or that'll be where they've set their sights, and you know, they're a reasonable chance to do it.
For the Eagles, well, you just pick their best players out of a hat, I suppose. So Connellan, Crittenden, Manane, that's Crittenden of the Michael variety. Xavier Watson is back and was back to his best, along with Aaron Watson and young Agars. But the name that strikes me, Reece Francis, a goal. I think he was pretty good for them as well. There's so many names of note. You know, Bryce Breed, Braden Martin, these guys have all worn the maroon at some point. Ben Carr, Matt Dyer. There's not too many in that starting lineup that haven't represented Great Flinders and or higher at some point.
No, it's actually a very daunting side when you look at it that way. And yes, there'll be times when they probably blow sides off the park, and you'll give other sides something to aim at, I think. Like, you'll tee yourself up to that game to, you know, really find out where you stand.
Bang on. Well, a cracking game. Well done, Elliston Districts. Not quite over the line, though, Yolanda, getting the job done 12-8 to 10-12. So we break now for Easter, and then we're back on the run-up to Anzac Day. You've got an actual Anzac Day clash, Primey. You touched on it before, and we'll spend a bit more time talking about it next week, but it's not on Anzac Day itself. All of the matches are scheduled for the Saturday, I believe, but you'll be honouring the Anzacs throughout the round. Yes.
All the games will be honouring the Anzacs, and I think we'll throw an SANFL game in there on the Sunday out of Lincoln. So, yeah, we'll have a big weekend.
All right, mate. We'll talk more about the matches next week. You enjoy your Easter. Thanks for joining us again, mate, and don't eat too many eggs over the long weekend, all right?
No, I'm allergic to chocolate.
Oh, well, there you go. You're laughing. You can get them these days, yeast and hops flavoured, I reckon.
Yeah, in a red tin.
That's the way, mate. Have a good Easter.
No worries. You too. Thanks, mate.